I've been using GNU Emacs as my text editor and code editor ever since I discovered it. And this is going to be more of a tutorial on how to actually learn Emacs and use Emacs. So this is going to be episode 1 of a series I'm going to do. And in this episode we'll just go through installing it as well as getting a base configuration that I prepared for new Emacs users and some minimalist users. So first of all, you need to install Emacs, which you can actually just uninstall Emacs because there's this Emacs thing where if you add a Emacs configuration while Emacs is installed, sometimes Emacs is not going to pick it up. So you need to just open up any sort of browser, anything will do, and we can close out all of our tabs and go to gitlab.com Emacs. I will leave this in the description down below. Let me make sure I spell that correctly. And this is sort of like a kickstarter for your Emacs configuration. So this is not an Emacs distribution. It's not like Doom Emacs or anything. It's not bloated. It's minimal. It's just a base configuration for Emacs because writing a configuration by yourself, if I open up just regular Emacs, it can be a little hard. Now first of all, let me just go through the difference between Vim and Emacs. Vim is a text editor that is used by lots of people and it works out of the box, so you can just use this to do quick edits here and there. But with Emacs, the default Emacs is just unusable and it's meant to be configured. And the Emacs lifestyle is quite different from Vim. And you need to remember one thing as well. I'm going to be using evil mode in this, but then if you're like, hey, evil mode is just a Vim emulator, a Vim key binding emulator for Emacs, then why do you even use Emacs? Well, just remember this, okay? Emacs can replicate Vim, but Vim can never replicate Emacs. That's the reason why Emacs users use Emacs. So you just need to uninstall Emacs, run these commands. This will remove your Emacs configurations, and then you just do this. Then you install Emacs again, and it should work perfectly fine. And then you can just launch Emacs with the Emacs command, although that's not how you usually do it. You do it by adding userdbin Emacs --daemon into your autostart config. So you can just search up whatever the autostart configuration is for your desktop environment in the search engine you use, and you can just add this to your autostart. Then launch Emacs with the command called Emacs client-c. So what that's gonna do is that you're gonna have an Emacs server that's gonna handle all of the loading and all of that, and the Emacs client is gonna launch instantaneously under the server. So right now, if I just launch Emacs with my configuration, what you should see is a lot of package installing and all of that. All you gotta do is just wait for all of the packages to install. Be patient about it. Sometimes you'll think like, oh, it's stuck. It is not stuck. It's doing its thing. And then once it's done, you can just close out Emacs, open it again, and you should see a screen like this. Sometimes when you're using regular Emacs, you'll see this screen, this welcome screen. If you're using Emacs client, you'll see this screen. So you can just read this. You can see that this buffer is for text that is not saved and for Lisp evaluation. So a cool thing is that you can evaluate Emacs Lisp in here. For an example, I can do toolbar mode 1, and then I can type in metax eval-buffer. By the way, metax means alt x. So on a lot of GNU programs, meta stands for alt. So I can just do that, and it will, oh, we've got an error there, eval buffer, and you can see that we now have this toolbar there. So I can just turn it off, bang, that's gone. So what we really want to do is just visit a file. So you can do that with this key binding that I've set in this configuration. You can press that, and what we're using is a little bit of packages here. So by default, the find file command and many other commands on Emacs is just one line. There's no suggestions, there's none of this, and there's actually no panel as well, but we'll come back to that later. And so I'm using a package called Vertigo, which will add these suggestions, and Marginalia, which will add this information. So you can open up your Emacs configuration in .config emacs init.el the init.dl and the early-init.dl are the only files. So we can actually open the early init first. And early init is a set of commands that you will execute the very beginning of launching Emacs. So before you even execute the init commands, you execute the early init commands. And what this does is turns off the toolbar, turns off the menu bar, turns off the scroll bar, and it disables package.el, which is the Emacs package manager, because we use another package manager. Now if I open up the init.dl, you can simply go through this and change as much stuff as you want. This is the package manager, don't change this. And we set up use package, which is a function we can use to make sure that a package is installed and make sure that it is required. So for example, we install evil mode, we do ensure t, which you don't really need because I've set a setting that makes sure that a package is always installed. Then we add the :config evil mode. So whenever you launch Emacs on startup, it's gonna run evil mode. And then you have your theme, which is using Doom theme, and you have some themes like Doom Vibrant. Once you save your configuration, you can launch Emacs, regular Emacs, and you should see that new theme right there. And we also have Doom Growbox. These are the recommended ones. These are my personal favorites, but there are tons of other themes which you can look up on the Doom themes repository. I will leave in the description down below. So I'm just gonna set it to Doom Pine, which is the default theme. And then we enable Vertigo, we talked about that earlier. And then we install general.el. Now general.el is the thing that we use to set key bindings with the space modifier. So you can see our prefix is space and the non-normal prefix is control space. And then we have some key bindings here, space plus dot to find file and space fs to save the buffer. And that's pretty much it for general key bindings. Then you obviously set a font, you can change it to whatever you want to. The format is family-size. And then the panel here, the line, is using Doom mode line. Now you can completely ignore this if you want to because Emacs comes with a panel by default. I like having it because it looks cool, but you can actually change this to not use Doom mode line and use the Emacs panel instead. Then we install all the icons, that helps with some Unicode icons. Marginalia, you talked about that. And then we have the language server protocol. This is what turns Emacs into an integrated development environment. So it's really helpful for programmers because it does stuff like detect errors. And I've installed some defaults here. We've installed Python mode, TypeScript, LSP Java, and Rust mode. You can add even more here. For example, we can add Lua mode if you program in Lua. That's just an example. Then we enable tab bar mode. Now if I press Ctrl T, that's gonna create a new tab. I can press Ctrl Tab to switch between my tabs and Ctrl Q to quit a tab. So that's basically what tab bar mode does. And then line mode, that's this thing right here, these line numbers as well as relative line numbers. Then we set a custom buffer which is turned off by default, but if you just turn it on and launch Emacs, then you can sort of see how it looks like. It's a nice little dashboard that's not using any package, it's just a custom buffer. I like turning it on by turning it off by default, but you can turn it on if you want to. And then we have some backups which I turn off because it's annoying. You can turn it on if you want to, again by setting from nil to T for true. And that's pretty much the configuration. So this is super minimal, there's nothing special about it. It's just a init configuration and you can just add thousands of stuff in here. You can just simply search for any sort of package and look for the use package section for it. There will be some sort of use package section. You just copy that, paste it into Emacs configuration, launch Emacs, make sure it works, and that's it. That's how you configure Emacs. It's not that hard, it's just a copy and paste job. As for using Emacs, you can obviously use your Vim key bindings, and you have some Emacs only functions like find file. On Vim you do a :E. That also works if you're used to that, but Emacs users usually do a find file. You have meta X or alt X. that's how you see a list of key bindings. You have some stuff like Tetris in here, so you can play Tetris inside of Emacs if you want to do that. And I don't really want to do that, so we'll do a switch to buffer, and we'll go to our init.yml because we don't want Tetris right now. You can do all sorts of stuff. Now you need to ignore everything else that's being created by Emacs here. All of these are really just cache files, right? So this is just cache files and alpaca files, all of that. And maybe if you follow the Emacs tutorial, you're gonna have that folder here as well. All of that, just ignore it. All you need is the init.yml and init. So that's it for episode 1 of the how to actually learn Emacs video. I hope you enjoyed this video, and bye bye.